A very good day to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Candy Talk here on Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Evans Okinyi, and I'm always glad to bring you up to date with comprehensive analysis of all that is taking place in this country and across the borders, only on Kenya's most comprehensive political and public governance analysis show. Definitely, I'm talking about the Candy Talk. I'm here with Professor Herman Manyora. Prof, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Actually, one of our viewers reached out to me, and there are a lot of concerns about the conduct of our members of parliament and how then we as a country can make sure that we have a parliament that is independent, not that one which has actually been portrayed to us here, because there has been a perception out there that somehow our parliament here actually bows to certain forces, mostly maybe, okay, what people are saying here is that it's kind of being influenced by the executive arm of the government, the independence of the of the parliament vis-a-vis the executive, and how these two bodies can actually work well for the betterment of the people. That is the conversation we are having here. Now, let's begin from here. Do you think that we add in our constitution in terms of defining the roles of these particular bodies, or where do we find the problem here?
The problem is years of bastardization of our politics. And the place we have given money in our national life. So MPs, like any other Kenyan, give them half a chance, they will steal money. So money is everything to them. Okay. Now, those with money will influence them. They are not stable. They are very weak people. So that's where the problem is. But the Constitution was done well. The only part of the Constitution I have a quarrel with was pampering the MPs. For example, by creating the Parliamentary Service Commission, that then sets terms of service, that then gives money to MPs, salaries and everything. Since when did an employee set their own salary? Give themselves the allowances they want? It has never worked like that, except for Kenya. But otherwise, the parliament, as currently put in our constitution, is a very strong institution. It's actually the strongest arm, stronger than the executive, stronger than the judiciary. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're saying here that the constitution was well put in place?
Yes.
Okay.
Apart from the excesses of creating a parliamentary service commission, apart from the excesses in terms of the salaries and packs, the provisions in the constitutions are good enough for our parliament.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Eileen Akal, and I'm the head of training at Center for Innovative Technology Limited, Scitec. If you finish your Form 4 and you would like to enter into an engineering field, architectural field, or any related field, please come to Scitec. We will train you how to be industry ready. We will also train you how to make engineering drawings. We will train you how to draw using the software.
I did my degree in China for 4 years. After I finish my degree, I come back to my country, Kenya. But the knowledge I find in Scitec, it's much, much better than the 4 years I spent in China.
We can empower a lot of young people in Kenya to gain gainful employment. And I want to speak to parents out there. If you have a child who's just done fourth form, between the time they do their exams and the time they enter tertiary education, there are so many months there they waste. Bring them here. In those short months, they will gain skills that they can use to advance their careers, to start their own even private companies. They can find work online, and when they go to university, they'll be so way ahead of their peers.
Welcome to Scitec.
The functions of the three arms of the government are clearly defined in the constitution here. So far, are you convinced that our National Assembly, that has been on the receiving end, especially from the electorate, has actually lived to the spirit of the constitution?
No, they have not. They have not. This constitution has given them powers. They surrender the power, they go and kneel before the executive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it possible that the parliament can actually work without kneeling to the executive?
Yes, why not? Here? Why not? That's what we wanted. That's what we put in the constitution. Yeah. We gave them autonomy. We gave them a lot of powers. Yeah.
Okay.
But they don't want to use it. They are still going to beg. They are begging the president for development, which the president doesn't have. It is them It is them with the pass, with the string, with the key to the safe. It is them to allocate resources, and yet they go and beg the president. Partly because of the quality of leaders we have there, but majorly because of our history and how we have come up to where we are today. Yeah.
Now, let's get this straight, because you see, I was actually wondering, what is the connection between the parliament and the executive? And of course, here we are just talking about the National Assembly specifically, because it is the house where the laws are being made. You remember back then, after the elections, it was clear that the winning coalition did not actually get the majority of the members of the National Assembly.
You know, by the architecture of our constitution, you don't need to. In fact, technically, an independent without a single member of parliament can become president.
Okay.
We have had those situations in the counties. Is that not true?
That's
There are independent candidates who have won to become governors. They have been governors with one MP or two, one MCA or two. Okay? Even Sakaja in Nairobi doesn't have the majority. So technically, we were creating a constitution where parliament was not going to be dependent on the executive. Of course, granted, that any time a president is in power, White House, or wherever it is, they would want to control the numbers in Congress, in Senate, in our National Assembly. That's natural. And once you have the numbers, naturally you want to use those numbers to pass your agenda, to promote your agenda, to implement your manifesto, to pass legislation using the numbers. So those are natural arrangements. But we were careful enough to ensure that the National Assembly and the Senate had the necessary requisite independence and autonomy to work for the people of this country and to put the executive in check. But they have never used it.
Okay. So you're talking about that independence and autonomy existing in paper, but
Yes,
not
but
actually
now,
practically.
So we now need, it now goes down to the men and women in parliament. And now, that's a bigger conversation. And it cannot come through legislation. It cannot come through State House. It will be the people of Kenya. At a moment when the people of Kenya will have power, when their voice will not be ignored, where the Gen Zs almost got us. And those moments are not very far. They will be there. There will be moments when we will have to go back to the drawing board, to reset, to press the reset button. And the people of Kenya will say, even as we wait for bigger changes, this is how we want the Supreme Court to work from today onwards. This is how we want the judiciary to work. And we have only 3 months to change those laws. The people of Kenya, at some moment, with the momentum of change, and I'm drawing parallel with Gen Z, they will say, the next parliament will see men and women who have gone there to serve and not money. We want changes that will completely kill the Public Service Commission. MPs will not set their own salaries.
The Parliamentary Service Commission, that is.
Yes, Parliamentary Service Commission, not public. Parliamentary Service Commission. Thank you. The people of Kenya will demand, at that moment of heat, that the highest salary paid to an MP will be 200,000. And there will be no sitting allowance. There will be no house allowance. The result of that is that Parliament will now attract men and women of caliber. And the charlatans and crowns and murderers and thieves and fornicators and rapists will not go to Parliament. Because there will be no money there. There will be no glory. There will only be work.
Okay.
So that, I can see that time coming. Yes.
Okay. So
that time can come. Yes.
When we may have people in that particular house who actually operate out of their own mind without any particular kind of influence.
Those are some of the things that will happen to save this country. If we don't go in that direction, this country will be destroyed. In other words, I'm seeing a situation where we avoid the ultimate that I can see coming, which is anarchy, which is a revolution that is destructive. So it's just voice, like the voice of Gen Z, that doesn't go to the level of a full-fledged revolution of destruction, of changing things by force. But the voice is so strong. They isolate 1, 2, 3, 4 things and say, this must be done in a constitutional manner. That in 4 or 5 months, we give you time, you leaders, to bring this thing to a referendum and we pass. In that momentum. And that is a better way than what looks to be inevitable to me unless we take care. Yeah.
But I think this actually also gives us a chance to re-question the meaning of governance, especially its context in this particular country, because when President Ruto rushed to, actually several MPs, especially from the opposition side, to his side back then at that particular moment in time, you basically told me here that he needed numbers, yeah? But then it all comes down to, now what was the agenda? If at all it was something to do with the public interest, what the people would actually want, if at all the policies here are for people, do you then think that even without those numbers, then our members of parliament would have still supported him the way it is happening elsewhere?
As long as you are doing things for the people. You don't need to go all out to get numbers in whichever way possible. No, you don't. Okay. You don't.
So as you're saying, we can still have a president with a minority side, but then...
Yeah, and the time is coming. The time is coming where somebody without MPs, he becomes the president. His MPs are the people of Kenya.
Okay.
I can assure you, if somebody like Omtata became president, he doesn't need MPs. He needs the people of Kenya behind him. The ones who will have taken him to State House will be his members of parliament.
Okay.
And the MPs will toe the line. They will toe. In fact, it will happen like it happened in Botswana sometime. The president will just say, no more increment for MPs, no more salaries, these obscene salaries. In fact, they are going down. And the people support the president and say, we just want to hear that the highest paid MP is earning 200,000. That's all. And there's no CDF. And there are no sitting allowances. There is no traveling. If you want to travel wherever you want to go, you are free, but use your own money. That way, Parliament will attract men and women ready to serve their country and not to serve their stomachs and their pockets. Yeah. And there are people like those. There are many Kenyans who can go to Parliament and do free work. Free. They don't want to be paid even 1 shilling. Free. And they are not even rich. But they just want to be there to ensure there are laws in this country that will usher this country into prosperity. Yeah.
Do you believe that the members of parliament can actually work for the good of the people without actually having some sort of a bad blood between them and the executive?
No, as currently constituted, I doubt.
It's not possible in Kenya, that's what you say.
That arrangement can't work. Yes, it cannot work. You see, how did the majority of the MPs get involved in whatever, to Ruto? How do they get to work with Ruto and be ready to do anything that he says? Beholden is the word I was looking to.
Exactly.
Why? Because he helped them retain their CDF unconstitutionally. The courts have said the CDF thing is unconstitutional. Whatever name you try to give it, it's unconstitutional. And it's only common sense. You didn't even need the courts to say that. The courts from the lowest to the highest, from the High Court to the Supreme Court had announced. But Ruto realized that he needed to have a hold on our MPs. And came up with an advisory from the Attorney General. Shame on that Attorney General. They have maintained their CDF and therefore they are beholden to Ruto. They can't say anything. Because it is him who made them get CDF against the law.
Okay.
Yeah. And they can do anything for him. So it's a false start from the start.
Okay.
Yeah.
The CDF that I've seen so many members of parliament oppose, and in fact, if anything is to be said about...
when Raila tried recently, you saw how they jumped.
Yes, I saw how they jumped and all that maneuver. And by the way, talking about the CDF, really, Prof, if at all it was totally removed out of there, would you expect the caliber of leaders whom we are having right now to actually vie for the MPC?
No, many of them will not vie. The charlatans will be less in parliament. Wash people will be less. Crooks will be less in parliament. Because that CDF, 130 whatever million, somebody knows every year how it costs a 40, 50 yake hapo. So you remove CDF, you are on your way to getting proper members of parliament. Just that one act. The moment you remove CDF, many people will not, many of these idiots will not want to run for parliament. Reducing therefore the number, the potential of such a people in parliament, and increasing the potential of more competent people joining and then you crack the issue of salaries for MPs, which you must bring. You don't have to give an absolute figure. There's a way you can make it a ratio. You can always just say, let them earn half of what some caliber of civil servant will be earning. Say a certain job group in the public service. You say an MP cannot be greater than a director in agriculture or a PS. So you say he's not the equivalent of a PS. He's not a step below a PS. He's not a director. So we go in the civil service and say MPs will earn salaries the equivalent of, which currently could give them something like 200,000 shillings. You know, 250, 200, maximum 300. And no allowances. That alone, plus minus CDF, I'm telling you, 3/4 of the people in parliament in 2027, if it happened today, will be men and women who will make contribution to their country. And there will be debate, meaningful debate in parliament. Parliament will be the parliament we used to go. We used to go to parliament just to listen. Just to listen to men and women speak in parliament, and you are proud of them. But now it's just these crooks in parliament. Yeah.
So you're talking of, as long as we don't sort out the money problem and the place of money in our governance and politics in this country,
it's nothing.
Then we cannot solve the problem.
No, you won't go anywhere.
We'll still see our MPs.
Money is what is destroying this country. For money, a Kenyan will do anything. Anything.
Okay. Therefore, do you expect to still see our MPs serve at the behest of the president, as you're saying here?
But they are doing that because the president just needs to pull CDF from under their feet and they all collapse and they go kneeling to State House. Just that. I said, by the way, I've realized that advice given by my former AG is wrong. Or he causes the current AG. Who is the AG now?
The current Attorney General?
Yeah.
Odor.
Yeah. Oh, he goes to that lady. Appear to be coming up with a new advisory on CDF. Once MPs knows the president is about to do that, they'll just kneel, all of them. They'll go from wherever they are on their knees to State House. Okay. Which is really tragic.
Finally, Prof, as we conclude this particular segment and show, had our parliament been actually functional, do you think we would have gone the road we went with the Finance Bill 2024, as well as the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua, the Deputy President?
Not at all. Because the work of an MP, legislation, oversight, and the representation. If you are representing people, you will speak for them. When you speak for them, you know what the people feel. If you are an MP performing your duties of representing the people, and the people tell you they don't want that Finance Act, how will you vote for it? So if we had really MPs, really leaders in parliament, then those finance bills of 2020, they would not have passed. The housing levy would not have passed. This share shift thing would not have passed. The NSSF thing would not have passed. But they don't speak for the people. They speak for a certain individual. Yet there are rules, legislation to make laws, oversight, and the representation. 3. If you are representing people, you speak on their behalf. You have a barometer to measure what the people are thinking and what they are feeling. The people of Kenya spoke loud and clear on the finance bill. They said no. The people of Kenya, in their numbers, almost 100%, spoke against the housing levy. They said no. So if the MPs who are representing the people, they would not have passed the housing levy. They would not have passed the finance bill. They would not have passed the housing, this housing thing. They would not have passed the the shift share thing, they would not have passed this new increment on NSSF, NHIF, and they would not. They wouldn't. Because they are speaking for the people. They represent the people. And the people overwhelmingly said no. No. Unless you are able to convince the people they are wrong, which is again is good. You are not a robot. You can't just do things because people say you do them. No. I agree with the president. People may want something because of short term. The comfort of short term may prevent people, stop them from seeing the benefit that will come tomorrow. So as a leader, you mitigate all these things. But unless you are able to give an alternative view to the people, you have none. You are working at the behest of an individual somewhere. Then you have no business being in parliament. And that's why we say in the future, we shall reserve that house for men and women capable of speaking for the people and on behalf of the people and working for the people of this country in the interest of this country. Yes.
Men and women of the people. For the people and with the people, that's what Prof says here. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to stop for now till we have this conversation again. Have yourself a lovely day. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being part of this family. My name is Evans Okinyi.
Thank you.